Hello there! When most people hear the word psychopath, they picture a cold, violent man, the kind you might see in crime documentaries or movies. The stereotype is so strong that psychopathy is often treated as a male problem, but psychology tells a more interesting story. Psychopathy can show up in women too, and often in ways that are quieter, subtler, and easier to miss. Because female psychopathy doesn't always look like aggression or physical violence, it tends to slip under the radar. A woman who manipulates people emotionally may be seen as dramatic. A girl who lies effortlessly might be labeled clever. A mother who controls everyone around her might be called strong-willed. The behavior gets explained away instead of examined. Researchers working with ideas from personality frameworks like the mask of sanity have long noted that psychopathy is less about obvious cruelty and more about patterns, lack of empathy, shallow emotions, manipulation, and little genuine remorse. Women with psychopathic traits often hide these patterns behind charm, vulnerability, or social skill. Understanding female psychopathy doesn't mean labeling women as dangerous. It means recognizing that serious personality traits can appear in different forms, and sometimes the quietest versions cause the most confusion. A man with psychopathic traits might start a fight. A woman with similar traits might start a rumor. The damage can be just as real, but it's harder to identify because it doesn't always look dangerous on the surface. Additionally, many women with psychopathic tendencies appear warm and engaging. They may smile easily, say the right things, and seem highly socially intelligent, but the emotions underneath may be shallow or calculated. This is one reason female psychopathy often goes unnoticed for years. Psychopathy is usually influenced by a mix of biology and environment. No single factor creates it, but certain experiences can increase the risk. A child who grows up without consistent emotional support may learn to disconnect from feelings as a survival strategy. If no one responds to her emotions, she may stop valuing emotions altogether. Over time, this emotional detachment can develop into a pattern where other people's feelings simply don't matter. This doesn't mean every neglected child becomes psychopathic, but emotional neglect can create the conditions for empathy to struggle to develop. Trauma can sometimes push people into emotional shutdown. When feelings become overwhelming, some individuals cope by disconnecting. Instead of sadness or fear, they develop emotional numbness. This numbness can sometimes resemble psychopathic traits, especially reduced empathy and shallow emotional responses. Samantha, a 10-year-old girl at school, is known for being very charming with teachers. She smiles, follows rules when adults are watching, and speaks politely. But classmates notice something different. She tells lies easily and never seems nervous when caught. She spreads rumors about friends and then comforts them when they get upset, almost as if she enjoys the drama. If another child cries, she watches with curiosity rather than concern. When confronted, she apologizes convincingly but repeats the same behavior. Adults may describe her as bright but mischievous, missing the deeper pattern. Amara, a 25-year-old office worker, is well-liked at first. She is friendly, confident, and quickly builds relationships. But over time, coworkers notice strange patterns. She shares private conversations with others. She subtly competes with colleagues and undermines them while appearing supportive. If a coworker is struggling, she may pretend to help but quietly use the situation to her advantage. When conflicts arise, she presents herself as the victim. People leave conversations feeling confused rather than angry. Nothing she does seems clearly wrong, but something feels off. Then there's Freya, a 42-year-old married woman with children who appears responsible and organized. From the outside, her family seems stable. Inside the home, she tightly controls relationships. She may manipulate family members emotionally using guilt or silent treatment to maintain power. She might pit siblings against each other or distort stories to maintain control. Confronted, she denies everything calmly. They appear calm and reasonable to outsiders, while family members feel emotionally drained. Because she fulfills social expectations, spouse, parent, provider, her behavior may never be questioned. Psychopathic traits exist on a spectrum. Not everyone who shows one or two traits is psychopathic, but consistent patterns may include lack of genuine empathy, frequent lying without guilt, superficial charm, manipulative behavior. shallow emotional reactions, blaming others for problems, and little real remorse. The key word is consistent. Everyone lies sometimes. Everyone gets selfish sometimes. Psychopathic patterns are persistent and strategic. So what can we do? Parents can help by watching for patterns rather than isolated behaviors. Important steps include teaching emotional understanding early, encouraging accountability, setting clear boundaries, addressing repeated lying, and seeking professional advice if patterns persist. Early intervention can make a significant difference. Children's personalities are still developing, which means change is possible. In workplaces, awareness matters. Helpful strategies include keeping clear written communication, avoiding oversharing personal information, setting professional boundaries, documenting conflicts, and reporting serious manipulation if necessary. The goal is not confrontation, but protection. Communities can help by reducing stigma around personality disorders. When psychological issues are discussed openly, early help becomes more possible. Schools, counselors, and social programs can provide support before patterns become deeply ingrained. Understanding reduces denial. Denial allows problems to grow. Female psychopathy is not a myth. It's simply less visible, because it often appears through relationships instead of aggression. It can go unnoticed for years. When we move beyond stereotypes, we become better at noticing the quiet patterns that shape lives. Sometimes the most important psychological issues are not the loudest ones, but the ones nobody thinks to look for. If you've enjoyed this video, kindly like, share, and subscribe for more.